Tuesday night, homework time, and my 11-year-old daughter is staring at her math book like it's a personal insult to her family.
Yeah, I know that look, right? The if I stare at it hard enough, this maybe do it itself, right? That's the strategy.
Exactly. And I can feel it coming. We're about to full-blown power struggle over fractions again.
Yep. Homework battles, right? My daughter turns those into an Olympic sport, right? So I swear she could have won gold in creative avoidance tactics.
That's pretty funny, man. So what did you do? Because right now I've got two choices. I can turn this into World War III over long division, or I can try something different.
And that right there is what we're talking about today, right? How to encourage cooperation instead of power struggles. So I want to personally welcome you to the Parent Support Circle podcast.
Awesome, RJ. I know you don't have no video today, but that's okay. We're going to move on and let this thing go. All right. Hey, everyone. I'm Curtis. I'm a proud dad and I have an amazing 11-year-old daughter who keeps me on my toes every single day.
And I'm RJ, dad of two grown kids, a son and a daughter, who somehow survived my learning curve. Though my daughter still brings up the great bedtime wars of 2012 at family dinners.
That's pretty funny. See, this is why I love having you here, RJ. You've been through it all and lived to tell the tale.
Yeah, barely, but still here, right? If I had $1 for every power struggle we've had in my house, I'd be recording this podcast from a yacht right now.
Very nice. That'd be nice, right? But there's hope. My daughter will hate me forever because I made her finish her homework.
Absolutely. Look, my kids are thriving adults right now, right? They called me voluntarily. We actually enjoy hanging out together. And here's the kicker, they thank me for some of the boundaries I set, right?
Mm,
Not all of them, mind you, but looking back, I wish I'd known some of what we're going to talk about today, right? Those things would have saved everyone a lot of tears.
Absolutely, RJ. Well, that's exactly what this episode is about. Whether you're navigating, pardon me, the tween years, or like me, dealing with teenagers, or still in the toddler trenches, we've got strategies that actually work.
Absolutely. So, Curtis, let's start with the basics, right? What exactly is a power struggle that you're going through? Because I feel like I was in one for basically 18 years straight.
Right. So here's the thing: a power struggle is when both you and your kid is digging in your heels, and suddenly it's less about the actual issue and it's more about who's going to win.
Oh, yeah, that tracks, right? Listen, when my son was 14 and refused to clean his room, it started out about dirty laundry and then ended up with us questioning the entire parenting philosophy.
Oh wow. Exactly. That's the trap, right? Because in the moment it feels so important. Like if they don't clean the room, civilization will collapse.
I mean, have you seen a teenage boy's room, right? Civilization might actually be at risk.
Yeah, maybe I kind of vaguely remind my room, but anyway, that's a fair point there. But here's the research that tells us, and this challenged everything for me. Power struggle aren't really about the room or the homework or whatever. They're about control and anonymity.
Wait, so when my kids pushed back, they weren't just trying to drive me crazy just for the fun of it?
Nope, they were trying to develop independence, which is actually developmentally appropriate and healthy.
Mind blown. So all these years I thought my daughter was being difficult. She was just growing up.
Pretty much. And here's the really important part. When we understand that we can't stop taking it personally, my daughter's not refusing to do homework to ruin my night. She expects her need for autonomy to do the only way she knows how.
hmm Though I gotta say, understanding it doesn't make it less frustrating when you're living it.
That's right.
Mm.
Oh, so 100%. Knowledge helps, but it doesn't make you a saint, which is why we need actual strategies.
hmm
So let's get into the first one. Strategy number one, giving choices. This one has literally saved my sanity.
So I'm all ears. How does this work with older kids? Because do you want the red cup or the blue cup? Doesn't really cut it with the teenagers.
That's true. So here's an example from last week. My daughter had a huge project due. Instead of saying, sit down and do your project now, I asked, do you want to work on it before or after dinner? And do you want to work at the kitchen table or in your room?
And she just did it.
She picked after dinner in her room, grabbed a snack, got to work, no argument, no drama. It was like watching magic.
Okay, but here's my question. What if she said, neither? I'm not doing it.
That's a great question, RJ. That's when you say not doing it wasn't one of the choices. So which one works better for you, before dinner or after dinner? So you stick to your guns, right?
Okay, so you're setting boundaries and giving them the control, the power of choice.
Exactly. And kids can smell fake choices from a mile away. Like my wife once said to our daughter, "Do you want to practice piano or lose screen time for a week?" That's not a choice. That's hostage negotiation.
Absolutely, right? Yeah, I definitely use those kinds of choices with my kids, right? So no wonder they got wise to me.
Right. And it's real. A real choice is, do you want to practice piano before homework or after homework? Both options are acceptable to you, and they also get to decide.
Right. So you're giving them the look, we're going to do this, but you get to choose when and how, right?
That's right.
So
That's
how
right.
about with teenagers? My daughter was basically an adult at 17. How do you give choices without losing all parental authority?
Perfect example. Curfew. Instead of laying down the law, you ask what time do you think is reasonable to be home on Friday nights? Then you negotiate from there because that gives them the choice and they can tell you what they want, right?
Wait, because I mean, look, I don't want to be letting my 17-year-old choose her own curfew, right? That kind of seems like terrifying. She'll pick something late, so what do we
Yeah,
do?
you're not setting the time. You're just starting the conversation. So let's say she says 11 and you land at 11:30, but she feels heard and you're not the villain. Oh no, she
Hmm.
says midnight, you say 11, and then you
Right.
like negotiate to 11:30. So it's still good, even though that she's doesn't really think she's losing anything. It still helps
Gotcha.
with
So you use
negotiation,
that
right?
starting point as a parameter to try and build a more reasonable outcome.
That's right, because a lot of times people will just say, "Hey, I want this big thing," and then you can negotiate down a little bit, so it's more
I like that tactic, and we can
beneficial.
use that in everyday life, right? Here's
Oh, for
here's
sure.
what I ultimately want, but now we need to work out a parameter that works for everybody. So I wish I'd known this, right? I just
Yep.
dictated curfew and then wonder what my daughter would forget to check her phone, right? So turns out she was protesting the dictatorship we were running.
That's right.
All right, so what's strategy number 2 then? I'm taking notes
Uh,
over here.
okay, buddy. So this one called "Connect Before You Correct," and it's all about understanding when the kids are emotionally flooded. Their thinking brain literally goes offline. So as you know, as
Mm.
teenagers, they're growing, so things
There
are a little
what
bit
goes what?
different. Their brain goes offline because of the emotional problems, I guess,
Right.
or development
Okay.
that we're going through, right?
Okay, got you.
So simple version would when kids are actually really upset, like meltdown, upset, they can't think logically. Their
Mm.
brain's alarm system is screaming and nothing else gets through.
So it's that kind of flight or flight thing, and we go into shock, right?
Yep,
That explains why all my brilliant lectures during my son's teenage tantrums went absolutely nowhere.
exactly, RJ. You can't reason with someone whose reasoning center is temporarily out of service. So you have to actually connect first, then correct.
So give me a real example of this because I think I need to picture this. Look, I went through the struggles, right?
Yep,
I'd
for
like to
sure.
think I learned, but I think we need to show people out there kind of here's a tactic. Here's how it looks.
Yep, right on, for sure. So my daughter came home last week devastated because she didn't make the soccer team. She was crying, slamming doors, the whole thing.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, and the first instinct is to fix it, right? Normal man thing,
Right.
try to fix everything, right? Well, you can't try. Well, you can probably try again next year, or maybe this is a sign to try basketball instead. I just sat with her and said, this really hurts, doesn't it? You work so hard."
So that's it. Like you didn't try to solve it.
That's right. Not at first. I just validated her feelings at first. And then, you know what? About 10 minutes later, of 10 minutes of crying, she started problem solving. Maybe I could try out for the club team, for the out try for different club team. And I guess it worked on my own skills over time, over the summer. 'Cause so she tried to
Mm.
improve herself because she realized, like, hey, if I didn't make it, I wanted to be on the team. I got to improve what I'm doing, right?
Right, because I mean, yeah, okay, you didn't make it now, but what can I do to and so that's what we all need to think. But it's great that you can get your own kid thinking that way.
Yeah, that's right.
So she solved her own problems because you just didn't jump in and try to solve it for her.
Exactly. When she felt heard, her thinking brain came back online. But if I'd launched into fix it mode while she was still being upset, we would have just have had a fight instead of like
Hmm.
solving it.
Yeah, this one's hitting me hard, right? My daughter would come to me with friend drama, and I immediately go into, here's what you should do, right?
Hmm.
And she'd storm off, and I'd think she's being dramatic. But really, I
Right.
was trying to negotiate with her alarm system, right? So, not doing any of us any favors.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. And here's the key thing to remember: validating feelings doesn't mean validating bad behavior. You can say you're really angry right now without saying it's okay to throw things when you're angry. So you're
Mm,
validating the feeling, not necessarily the action of them closing the doors on it. Just say, hey, listen, it's okay to be angry right now, and then move on, right?
yeah.
Okay, so let's move forward here, RJ. We're going to talk about other strategies on how to reduce power struggles. Are you ready for number three, RJ?
Yep, let's do it.
All right. Pause before you react. Simple to say, super hard to do. So, you say, hey, I need to pause, but sometimes you can't do it, right?
Yeah, you know what? My pause button, I felt like it was completely broken for most of my parenting years, right? Especially with my son. He knew
Right.
exactly how to push my buttons.
Oh, yeah, they all know how to push that button. But here's the thing, that split second between something happening and response, that's where you either escalate or de escalate the whole situation.
So again, give us an example of this because I need to know how this works in real life.
Okay, so here's a sample. So last night, my daughter forgot to tell me about a permission slip that was due today. Like she pulled it out of her backpack at 8 p.m. Like, oh my gosh, right?
Yep, I know. Yep, classic move, right? My kids were masters of that one.
Yeah. So my immediate action was to launch. What do you mean you forgot? This is so irresponsible. But instead, I literally countered to five. I counted to five in my head.
Mhm.
Then I decided to say something.
Yep. Okay.
So, and then by five, I realized yelling wouldn't change anything. So I said, okay, this is frustrating. Let's figure out how to make sure this doesn't happen again. What system could help you remember these things
Wait. 5 seconds changed the whole conversation.
completely? We ended up creating a system where she checks her folder every day after school. If I yelled, she would have gotten defensive. We would have fought, and nothing would have changed. We would just sort of stay the
Right.
same, right?
Okay. But real talk, what do we do? Or what about when they do something that makes your blood boil? Like my son was 16 and took the car without permission, right?
Ouch. That's pretty serious, man.
Right. And I lost it, right? I mean, safety issues, trust issues,
Yep.
all the issues, right? But looking back, I wish I'd paused, even just walked outside for a minute before responding.
Yeah. So then what happened then?
Well, I'm upset. I yelled for like 20 minutes.
Oh
He
my
completely
god.
shut down. We didn't actually talk about why he did what he did or the consequences until the next day, right? If I'd paused, perhaps we could have skipped the yelling and gotten straight into some real conversation.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing, RJ. That pause isn't about never having big feelings. It's about not leading with them.
Exactly. I think, yeah. And then the wild thing, every time I lose my cool, I was basically teaching my kids that emotion controls you, right? When I could pause, I was showing them how to handle their feelings. So no wonder my kids struggle with anger sometimes because they learned it from watching me, I think.
That's pretty interesting. Probably we all learn from our parents some way, right?
Yep.
So next up, shifting me versus you to us versus the problem. This one's a game changer.
I like this, the sound of this. So break it down for us.
Sure. So most power struggles feel like parent versus child, right? Like your opponents. But what if you reframed it so you're on the same team, fighting the same problem together?
So instead of you versus your daughter, it's both of you versus the homework.
Exactly. Instead of you need to do this homework, I'd say we got this problem. The math is really hard and it's due tomorrow. How can we tackle this together?
And this actually works.
It does. It does work most of the time. Sometimes it's still a bit of a struggle, but because we're teammates, she decides to work on the easier problems first, builds momentum. Sometimes we break into chuckles, but she's coming up with solutions, which means she's invested.
Yeah, you know what? I wish I'd have known this with my daughter. We had epic battles over her room, right? Like Shakespearean level drama
Oh,
about
geez.
dirty clothes, right? So.
Yep, yeah, I can see that. How did that go for you though?
Listen, terribly, right? I'd say, clean your room. She'd say, why do you care so much about my space, right?
Right.
Because you live in my house, right? These are common battles. She'd say, well, I didn't ask to be born, normal
Mm.
teenage stuff.
Oh wow. She went straight for the accidental argument, hey?
Yeah, right, right. But if I'd said, hey, we have a problem, I need the common areas clean and you need your privacy, right? How can we both win? So working on it together, even though it's her room, it's still our space.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe you've landed on keep your room however you want, but dirty dishes and laundry can't stay there forever. She gets her privacy, you get basic hygiene standards, everyone wins.
Yeah. Instead, I won every battle and lost the war, right? Her room stayed messy out of spite.
Yep.
She's literally told me years later that she kept it messy because it was one thing she could control.
Oh my god, that's crazy. See, that's the thing about power struggles. When you win, you often lose something bigger. When you collaborate, everybody wins.
Yeah. So we're on a roll here. What else have you got for us?
All right, well, I got two more big ones. First, practical, predictable routines. And before you roll your eyes, hear me out.
Nope, I wasn't rolling my eyes, but
I
routines
can't
do
see that right
sound
now
kind
anyway.
of boring.
That's funny. Anyway, let's move forward here. That's the thing. It's not about being rigid. It's about creating flow so kids know what to expect.
Okay, so example time.
Sure. So weeknight routine is dinner, shower, lay out tomorrow's clothes, 30 minutes of reading or quiet time, then bed. It's not about exact time. Some nights we have to eat at 6 or 7. Some nights it could be later, depends on work schedules, right? But the sequence stays the same. So you have the same thing, and that's how you timed, but she knows after dinner she's gonna have a bath or shower or whatever, brush her teeth type stuff, and get
Mhm.
ready for the next day. And then
And
she
so
has some
that
personal time.
routine
Yep.
reduces the fights.
So much because my daughter is not surprised every night. She knows what's coming, so her brain stays calm, and calm kids cooperate.
Okay. So we had zero routine when my kids were growing up. Dinners were sometimes in their room. We didn't spend quality time together afterwards. We didn't monitor to make sure the homework was getting done.
Hmm.
So, every night was like trying to negotiate a new peace treaty.
Oh my gosh. And that can be quite exhausting for everyone. Kids' nervous systems need predictability.
All right, cool. So I get the routine thing. So what's the other one?
So this one's the hardest, knowing when to let go of control.
What? Let go control.
Yep. So here's the truth bomb. There are some things you literally can't control. You can't make your kid eat, sleep, or care about their grades.
Okay. The grade things, right? I get that. So my son was so smart, but just didn't care about school. We tried everything: rewards, punishments, threats, bribes. None of that really worked, right?
And then,
And so, like I said, he squeaked through high school with, C's. I
oh
was
wow,
convinced he was doomed. But you know what happened?
tell me.
He found something he cared about. We talked about the coding, the gaming, right? Taught himself, got some clout from it, got connected with people.
Hmm.
Now he's, making more money than I ever thought possible, right? Turns out he just needed to find something that had his own motivation behind it.
That's such a perfect example, RJ. You couldn't control whether he cared. All your battles just damage your relationship,
Yeah,
right? By
exactly.
fighting.
So how do you know when to hold firm versus when to let go? That's the thing.
That's a good question. Hold firm on safety and core values. Seatbelts, kindness, treating people with respect. Let go of things have that they have ultimate control over. Eating, sleeping, their effort level, and negotiate everything else. Screen time, curfews, and chores.
So if I gave up the battle with my daughter over the bedroom, like you said, um, we give them a little bit of control, right, over something they
Hmm.
have. It's their environment. So I wish I had someone had told me this like 15 years ago, right? This
Oh
would
yeah.
have saved so many fights.
Oh, for sure. And also when they have choices, it gives them that independent level, right? Or the feeling of that.
hmm
Okay, so let's go to the last strategy. It's catching them cooperating.
Okay, explain this to me because you got me intrigued.
All right. We're really good at noticing when kids mess up, right? Why is your homework not done? Stop arguing with me. But what about when they do cooperate?
Yeah, we just don't say anything, right? So, but and here's the thing: we, as parents, this I think we have to let control go first. So it was great we talked about that one first,
Hmm.
so that we can start to notice when they do things right.
Exactly, RJ. But what if we paid attention to that? Hey, I noticed you started your homework without me asking. That's really responsible, and thanks. Or you can say you handle that frustration so well. I am so proud of you.
Mm. Yeah, listen, I can use this tactic as an adult now,
Yep.
and I use it with a lot of other people. People love that recognition of when they do well. If I think that's more beneficial than getting upset and drawing attention to
Yep.
whatever you're doing. So whatever we pay attention to, we get more of.
Exactly, RJ. And kids want our attention, even people in our lives, right? But we're focused on kids today, but also adults. If the only way you get it is by messing up, they'll mess it up. But if they
hmm
get positive attention for cooperation, then that's what will happen, right? Get more
Yeah, they'll
cooperation.
cooperate more, right? So
Yep.
again, mind blown. Again, I'm starting to see a pattern here. I basically did almost everything wrong.
No way. Your kids turned out great, right?
They did, but I'm just saying I could have made it easier on all of us, right? If I'd known some of this stuff.
Of course. That's the thing. None of us get it perfect. Before we wrap it up, RJ, what would you tell your younger self about all of this?
Oh, honestly, look, I tell myself that 20 years from now, nobody's going to remember who won the bedroom cleaning war,
Yep.
right? But my kids will absolutely remember how I made them feel.
Wow, that's pretty powerful, man.
Yeah. And I tell myself to pick my battles, right? Not everything matters. Save
Yep.
your energy for safety, kindness, respect. The rest, most of it resolves itself and it just gives you time and grace.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And here's what I would like to add. Progress over perfection. I still love those I still lose my cool sometimes. I still get into power struggles, but every time I pause, every time I offer a choice, every time I connect first, that's a win.
And your relationship with your daughter is stronger because of it.
That's right. It really is. We're a team now, no opponents, and that's the whole point.
Yep. All right, folks, let's recap. Curtis, give us the 7 strategies one more time.
Sure. You got it. Number 1, give age appropriate choices. 2, connect before you correct. Number 3, pause before you act. 4, shift from me versus you to us versus the problem. Number 5, create predictable routines. 6, know when to hold firm and negotiate or let go. And number 7, catch them cooperating.
Perfect. And remember, you don't have to be perfect at all of these, right? Pick one that resonates. Try that this week and see what happens.
Yep, exactly. Maybe this week just offer one choice instead of a command. See how it feels. Science says you reduce power struggles by like 80%.
And if it doesn't work the first time, don't think that you failed, right? Kids are unpredictable. Try again and see if you get a different strategy, or try even a different strategy. See if you get better responses.
Yep, that's right. You never know what's going to work, right? So keep on trying different things. And before we go, let's give a huge thanks out to our parent support community. We love hearing from your stories. Message us on social media and tell us which strategy you are going to try first this week.
Yeah. And look, we pick some of the stories or the topics we do from your comments, right? So
Yep.
if you found this helpful, share it with another person who's in the trenches. We're all in this together.
And don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, and hit that bell. To next time we go live, you'll be notified. And if you're on Facebook, leave us a comment. And if you think this has helped you, maybe will help a friend or a fellow parent, please let them know about us. Until
Yeah.
next
And
time,
then
remember, yep. Until next time, remember, you're doing better than you think.
yeah. And 20 years from now, your kids will remember that you tried, right? That's what matters.
Yep. This has been the Parent Support Circle podcast. I'm Curtis,
And I'm RJ,
and thanks for
and
listening,
thanks for
guys.
listening.
Perfect. We'll see you next time. Hmm. Something's going on here. Hold on. It won't end.
Okay. Maybe we have to
One sec.
leave.
Hold on.